about some of my work experiences. So I have worked like a lot of different jobs, like mostly F&B, I think, because they're part-time jobs, and when you're a student and stuff, you can't really get like non-service jobs, I feel, unless you're doing an internship or something. So I did a lot of F&B, and then just a lot of random jobs, I feel. So obviously I did like waitressing, and then I did working for like a sports shop, and I also did like admin work for my school, and just like a bunch of different things. I was also like, I used to make bracelets, and then it was for this like bracelet kids toy company, and then they put you inside the popular bookshop. So I also was kind of like a, I don't know what that is, but basically I would just demonstrate the product inside the bookshop, and people would come up to me and ask me questions and stuff. So in general, I've just been working probably since I was 16, which I think in Singapore is the like minimum age requirement for you to go and work. And I am like 24 now, so that's like 8 years of like work experience, I guess. So I always had a job for school holidays, and when I went to university for summer break, I think I didn't really have a job during JC, because that was just like JC, if you've gone to JC, it's just always like you have so much shit to do. So yeah, so I think those 2 years perhaps I didn't work. Yeah, but I worked the break from JC to uni. So anyway, when you start working in Singapore, I think if you're 16, you just finished secondary school. So I was really excited to get my first job, because my sister worked at TGI Fridays at, I can't remember the mall name, but it was the one that's opposite 313 Somerset, and they used to have TGI Fridays there, and then they closed down, and then they had a TGI Fridays at 112 Katong or I12 Katong, whatever it's called. So as soon as I could, I went there to TGI Fridays to get a job, and that was my first waitressing job. But I think I only stayed there for 2 days, because I really did not like it. It was like, it was just like dirty, and I think it was kind of gross to me. So I don't know, like if I went to the kitchen to get things, like you could see the chefs like eating the fries from the customers' plates and stuff like that. I guess I can say it now, because TGI Fridays has closed down in Singapore. There are no outlets here, but for the other jobs, I'm just going to refer to them as like an F&B job or whatever, because I don't think I should say the exact name of the place. So so anyway, I'm going to tell you 3 different stories which I think are the most kind of stand out across my part-time like working experience. So let's see, the first one was for a juice shop, so it was also F&B. I feel like I'm a little blown out in the lighting, but I've turned off all the lights in the room. Okay, so what was it? Yes, so it was a juice shop, and I worked there. I can't remember. It was the break between like when you're waiting to go to university, and so I hadn't even gotten my uni like posting yet, like what school I was accepted into. I remember because I was on shift when I got accepted into university, and then I was really excited, and then I told all my colleagues. So I was working there, and I was working at the airport. So the airport is like 24 hours, and so the shop that I was working at was also technically 24 hours, but it was really, I think it was, until like, I don't know, quite late, like 11 or 12 p.m. and then the morning shift was like 6 or 7 a.m. or something like that. I can't really remember exactly because it was many years ago now. And so they would send like the taxi to come and pick you up because obviously it's so early. So yeah, so anyway, I enjoyed working in this place and I had really nice colleagues. I'm still like friends with some of them now. I think, yeah, so the weird thing, okay, was there was this guy that was working there. I can't even remember his name now, but I don't know, let's just give him a fake name so it's easier for me to refer to him. So let's just say his name was Jason. Okay, so when I came into this job, a few of the girls told me, hey, like, watch out for Jason because, yeah, no, they didn't tell me why. Then I was like, what do you mean? Like, why? Like, why do I need to watch out for him? And they're like, no, I don't want to say, but just like, watch out. Then I was like, alright, like, that seems kind of weird, but okay. Anyway, I was, how old was I? 18? 17. I think around 17, I think, yeah. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So I had fun like working in this place and just, yeah, the pay sucked. It was $6.50 an hour, which is really low, and this shop is like really busy. Like there's just people going there all the time, so you're just constantly working, and the pay was really bad, but I didn't really mind because I wasn't really doing it for the money. It was just kind of to pass time and also, well, maybe to make a little bit of pocket money, but you're not really making much with $6.50 an hour, to be honest. So anyway, I made some friends then. I liked them, and I liked my manager as well. She was nice. She was Malaysian, and so she could speak like Malay, Mandarin, and English quite well. So I liked her. Anyway, so fast forward, this guy, he would kind of talk to me. Oh, it's kind of like, it's so long ago now. So he would kind of say like, he would kind of talk to me about sexual stuff, but without being very explicit. So he would say things like, oh, he's waiting for his girlfriend to come home. Then I would be like, okay, like that's nice, I guess. And then he would be like, yeah, because we're gonna have, I can't really remember, but he would just make a lot of like innuendos about him having sex. And it was weird because I was 17 and I think he was like, I don't know, like 22 or 23. He was a few years older than me for sure. And so I was just kind of like uncomfortable, and he would also like come really close to me and stand like very close to me, which also just made me feel uncomfortable. And when I would move to the side, he would follow me and like move himself too. But he wasn't doing anything that I could report or that like anything. It wasn't explicit enough. But so I was working with my assistant manager, who was this very nice lady, and she was only a few years older than me, but she had been working there for like many years. And so this guy Jason had asked me to get some like cups from like the top shelf of like the containers and stuff. So it's like quite high up, and so I would have to take a ladder and go up there. And so I was going to take a ladder and do it, and then my assistant manager was like, never mind, like let me do it. Then I was like, oh, it's okay, like I can do it. Then she said, no, like he only wants you to go up there so that when you climb up the ladder, he can look at your butt, like from down here. Then I was like, what? Like, are you serious? Then she was like, yeah. So then she went up to go and do it. Which, I don't know, I feel it's kind of weird that everyone knew he was kind of a pervert, but then he was still working there. Maybe because he hadn't done anything explicit that could make someone fire him, I guess, but all the girls knew he was kind of gross. So I'm getting a kind of blown out. Okay, so I changed the lighting a bit because I felt like I was too blown out, so sorry if the lighting is weird now, but I think this is better because I was really blown out from the window just now. So anyway, what was I saying? So this guy, yeah, he was just kind of weird, but I guess we couldn't really do anything about it. And then one day he had sent a picture to the group chat. Oh my god. And the picture was like of a half-dressed woman in her underwear that like had probably taken a selfie and then sent it to him, and he had sent it to my work group chat with my manager inside the group chat. And so like when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, because it was, yeah, basically like some kind of sexual picture. And obviously the girl that had sent it to him hadn't consented to him to send it around, but you know, guys are trash. So he did that. He sent like his girlfriend's picture to the chat, and then after that he deleted it, and he said like, oh my god, sorry, like I said that wrongly. And then his excuse of why he had done that, he said that his girlfriend had been working out at the gym, and so she had taken pictures and sent it to him to ask him if he could see her progress, which obviously I don't really buy that, but okay, whatever. And then apparently like he had texted the girls in the chat and said like, oh sorry, like I sent that and whatever. He didn't text me because I had only been working for a while, and he'd been working with these other people for a few years because he was a full-timer and I was only a part-timer. Excuse me. So my manager also like messaged like, be careful like what you're sending, like this isn't appropriate, but they didn't really say much else on the chat. So that was that. But then when I went to work the next day, my colleague was like, oh, did Jason text you after he sent that picture? And I was like, no. Then she said, oh, that's not even his girlfriend, it's like someone else, like because she's met his girlfriend before. Then I was like, oh, this guy is obviously kind of a sleaze, and it just made me feel really uncomfortable to work with him, because obviously he meant to send that picture to probably his like friend guy chat or something disgusting. So yeah, it was just really gross, and I just obviously didn't have a good impression of him. And yeah, I think everyone in working there kind of knew he was gross, because like I said, when I joined, the girls warned me about him, and then also my assistant manager like didn't really want me to kind of be alone with him, which I'm thankful for her. And then lastly, that he sent his like weird picture to the group chat with my manager inside, which is, oh my gosh. So I don't know what's happened to him now. I don't know if he's still working there, because a few years later I kind of ran into him when I was buying a drink from there. So maybe he is still working there, I don't know, but I just hope that the girls that are working there are being safe around him, I guess, or maybe that he's fired, I don't know. That's kind of like a weird story, but also kind of sad, because that's like, it just kind of shows what it's like for girls to work sometimes. It's not even just about working or getting the money and being tired at work. It's like that you have to deal with men that are gross. And like I said, keep in mind I was young. I was 17 or 18 or something, and for like a 20-year-old plus guy to be talking to me about like how he wants to have sex with his girlfriend is really weird. Like, why would you do that? So stay safe, everyone. Okay, and then so let's move on to the next story. So I was working at this shop near my house, which was also a dessert F&B shop. Again, it paid really little, $6.50. Again, I don't know why I keep taking these low paying jobs, but my like excuse for it was that this place was really close to my house. Like I could take a bus there and I'd reach in like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, not 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. So it was really close, and I kind of saved on the commute there. And I think I again did it during some kind of school holiday. Yeah, I think I was already in university, perhaps. I'm not very sure, but anyway. So I was working at this dessert shop, and so the people that had opened it were, I think, like very new to the F&B scene. I think this was their first venture, and they didn't really know how to handle an F&B business. So for example, like the things that they would buy for the shop don't make sense. So they would buy like wooden chopping boards and wooden like knife holders, and obviously like when we wash the knives and stuff, and then you have to like, there's nowhere to dry it, you just have to put it straight back into the wooden block, and like it started growing mold and things like that. So, and this place just in general, it just felt kind of not very clean. But again, so I worked there for a while, and then I feel like this shop was just a bit problematic in general. So the assistant manager, or I can't remember if she was the manager or something. No, I think maybe perhaps she was the only full-timer. I can't really remember, but she would always complain that like she had so much experience in F&B, but the owners weren't like paying her to do assistant manager jobs. So she would do the schedule and stuff like that, and extra managerial level kind of roles, but she wasn't getting paid for it, I guess. So yeah, so she would always complain about that, and she was kind of more like a bit more gangstery, I would say. Like not necessarily in a bad way, but she wasn't very cool, calm, collected. She was more like hothead, fiery kind of person. So anyway, yeah, and then I enjoyed working there again, but like I said, I always felt like it was kind of dirty, and the things that the owners would buy just didn't really make sense for F&B. And they would come by sometimes and check the store, because it was they are like first time owners and stuff, and so I guess they only have one store to manage, and so they would come over and check. And so one day like we had realized there were cockroaches in the shop, and so we had found like one or two, and then the next week we kept finding more and more and more. And so they wanted to shut down the shop to do like a deep clean. Yeah, so yeah, a deep clean of the shop. And so they shut it down early. I think like they're supposed to run until 9 p.m. and then I think they shut it off at 8 or 8:30. I can't really remember. So this woman, a customer, had come down, and she said like she wants to buy the dessert. And so I think either me or one of my colleagues, we said like, oh, we're closed early for deep cleaning. And so this customer was really angry. She was like, oh my god, I've come from out of town, and I have friends that are coming from out of town, and I told them about your dessert, and if like, how can you close early without telling anyone, blah blah blah. And so I was like, I think it was either me or my colleague, we were like, okay, just wait, our boss is here so you can talk to her. So we brought the boss there, and so the bosses, it was like one woman and two men. So the woman went to talk to the customer, and then the customer was like scolding my boss until she cried. So like she was crying at the shop, and then the woman was scolding her. So it was all very dramatic, I guess. And then the other boss had to come in, and I can't remember if in the end they made the dessert for her or not, because we had closed down the dessert machine to clean it. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, and in the end they had like a lot of cockroaches. I think they had some kind of cockroach infestation in that dessert shop, and so I think they closed down. Yeah, I mean, I know they closed down because they're no longer there, and they were supposed to open a second shop in another part of Singapore, but they didn't, and then they closed down entirely. They're no longer operating. So I'm not sure if they closed down because of the cockroaches or just because in general they didn't make it. But so that was another one of my experiences, which is not so great because it's kind of gross that the food shop you were working in had cockroach infestation. And obviously, like, while it was going on, we were still serving people. Like, yeah, I mean, I think the cockroaches weren't in the food, but they were like around the whole place. Then obviously, like, we were still serving people, which is kind of gross. I think, like, if you work in F&B, you kind of know like more of the dirty secrets of F&B. Like I said, when I worked at TGI Fridays, like when they had, for example, like a burger and fries come out, like the people inside the kitchen would eat like the fries off the plate before we brought it out. Yeah, I asked like some of my friends and my like family that's also worked in F&B, and they said their restaurants that they worked at didn't do that. So I guess it's really like personally what the restaurant does, and if they are strict and if they're hygienic and whatever. So the places that I worked at, unfortunately, were not very clean. So yeah, so that's another place that I worked at, which was kind of gross. And yeah, they're no longer operating. So the last story that I want to tell is from it was an office job that I was working at. So basically, when I went for my interview, my interviewer kind of said to me like, oh, she liked how I looked because I dressed nicely and I was wearing makeup, and she said if you don't like wear makeup to your interview, it shows like you don't respect the interviewer or the company that you are interviewing for because you don't put effort into your appearance, which I feel that's not exactly right. Like, wearing makeup doesn't make you more professional. It doesn't mean like you take your job more seriously. But I think that is unfortunately a stigma and a stereotype of like women working, because I think my sister's bosses and stuff have kind of said like, oh, you should wear makeup, or makeup shows that you care more about your job, which I feel is stupid because, like I said, you can care about your job and you can do well in your job without having to wear makeup, as long as you still look clean and presentable. So anyway, in general, this place I feel was really looks centered, and so they like to hire like good looking people in general. And my manager would kind of joke about it that, oh, like yeah, like, oh, like this person's good looking, or like this candidate that came in is good looking. And it was just in general the whole floor. Like, when a new candidate came in that was good looking, like they would tell everyone on the floor like, hey, I have this new person coming in and he or she is really good looking, and everyone would go and look. So it was kind of a weird culture, but I don't know, it's not necessarily something that you could fault them for, I guess. I mean, I'm trying to be generous and not too mean when I talk about these places. So anyway, so yeah, they also had personality tests that you had to take before you come in, and they wanted specific people that had specific results from these personality tests, which you either believe in it or you don't, I feel. Yeah, and plus nowadays people know how to fake these personality tests, so I don't really know how much weight they hold, but so that's what they did. And then this place also relied heavily on interns and part-time workers to do a lot of the grunt work, which is, you know, it's neither here nor there. That's just how it operated. And so yeah, I think the thing with this company is that it was quite traditional and old school and not very with the times. So I think one day I wore like a pantsuit into work. So I wore like trousers and then a blouse and a blazer into work. And then so this guy that was sitting with me, he told me like, oh, you shouldn't wear pants to work. Then I was like, why? Like, who told you that? Because he was new as well. So I was like, why? Then he said, oh, like, so-and-so, who's like a full-time worker, told me you're not allowed to wear pants into work. Then I was like, what nonsense is that? I've never heard that before. So then, I think the next day, somebody told me that this other girl had wore pants into work and the boss had come in and like chewed her out. Like this old man that's the boss of this place, he had come in and like yelled at her and she had cried, all because she was wearing pants and women are only allowed to wear skirts or dresses in this company. So I was like, what the hell? Like what? That doesn't even make sense, and I didn't care. I still wore pants to work because I feel that's really stupid. And he never, like, the guy never said anything to me, the boss himself. Yeah, so I felt that was really dumb. And then again, like I said, this place was very look-centered, but it's also because it's a client-facing role, so you have to meet people. But at the same time, some of the interns that were working there don't meet clients at all. Like, you're just facing your computer and doing, like I said, the very administrative and like grunt work kind of cold calling stuff. So you weren't meeting clients at all. But I had heard from like one of my friends that her boss, like her team leader, had told her like she should stop wearing her glasses and get contact lenses. And then said like you should also start wearing makeup and lipstick because you look really dead. Then I was just like, I don't know, to me I feel like this is terrible. Like, why are you telling people that? Especially because, like I said, she wasn't meeting any clients, for one, and for two, she also looked presentable and neat and tidy and professional. I mean, it's different if you had come in and like you just looked disheveled and you didn't comb your hair and your clothes were all like crumpled, but she was just looked normal. But they just wanted all the girls to wear makeup, contact lens, lipstick and skirts. Like, it was just very, like I said, a very traditional kind of place. Yeah, and so I also had a male team leader, and so I was working on the computer and he told me like, you know, you should smile more. Then I was like, what? Like, I'm literally like looking at the computer, like you want me to smile while I'm typing an email? It doesn't even make sense. And I'm sure like a lot of women that have worked before you have experienced men telling you to smile, which I feel like they should just fuck off, honestly. So yeah, like I said, it's different if you're meeting a client and you have to be like jovial and like nice and smile, but when you're literally doing your work at your desk, you're answering emails, you're checking your calendar, why do you have to smile at your computer? It doesn't make sense. So I was just really annoyed with this place in general. And yeah, and so this place also was, I would say, about 95% Chinese, which Right, so Singapore is a multicultural, multiracial place, but I think Chinese Singaporeans are 7 out of 10, I think, and then 2 out of 10 is Malay and 1 out of 10 is Indian / other. I think that's the demographic, like the makeup of the population. If I'm not wrong, don't quote me on that. But anyway, Chinese are the racial majority, which is what I am obviously as well. So when I went there, this whole place was, like I said, around like 95-96% Chinese. And so like when we when I was looking for candidates, my like team leader would explicitly tell me like, oh, we prefer like Chinese, or if they're Malay they have to look Chinese, which like I was like, what? Like that doesn't even make sense. Then I said, why? And then they said like, oh, because like you just tend to fit in the culture better. Like usually when we have people from other races, they always leave really fast. And so that was their reasoning or excuse, which obviously even at that time I felt really uncomfortable with it, and I wanted to quit like on my first day. So yeah, I just really didn't like how things were run there. And then the boss that was still working there, he was also just like racist. I think he would just call like one of our Indian co-workers, he would just call her like another Indian name which wasn't even her name, and then when she would correct him, he would just like laugh and keep on calling her the wrong name on purpose. And yeah, it was just in general not a nice environment. And yeah, I remember we had like some kind of like drama because there was this guy that joined as an intern and he wanted to quit, and they just like didn't want to let him quit. And it was so funny because so like his story was basically that I think he was waiting for news on whether or not he got another internship, which was what he actually wanted to do. And so then like this company that I was working at offered him an internship first, like before he had news from the other place. So he had told them like, I'm waiting for news like from another place, so like I don't think I should sign the contract yet. Then the company that I was at said like, it's okay, you can just sign first, and then if you need to like leave, you can leave. So he signed the contract, and then he started working here for I think 1 day, and then the next day he got the news that he had been accepted for the internship that he really wanted. And so he said, okay, like so I want to leave now because that's what you said I could do. And then the HR was like really not happy with him, and they said like, how can you leave, like you signed the contract, and like if you leave now you'll have to pay like a $500 fee for what we've trained you for. I think it was 500 or 300, but like some kind of amount of money of like what they had spent to train him. I think he'd only been there 1 or 2 days. So he said like, no, I'm not going to pay that money. And he said like, I want to quit because you told me that I could leave if I got news from the other internship. And so then the company was like, no, we're not going to let you quit, like you have to pay the fine to leave if you want to leave. And then he said like, no, I'm not going to pay any fine. Then he said like, you can sue me if you want, I have no money. So which I thought was really funny, and all the interns just thought he was so cool and funny because he was really just not letting this company bully him into paying a fine, which I mean, kudos to him because he was also like a teenager at the time. I don't know, I can't really remember how old we were, but these people were like 28 or something, or 30, the people that were talking to him. So yeah, and in the end they like after like a few days of arguing, the company said, okay, like we have a solution, which is just that we will fire you and then you don't have to pay the fee. Then he was like, fine, then fire me. And then so he left. Yeah, which I think is just so funny. And obviously, like, this company could have done that from the start. They just wanted, I guess, to see if he would break and pay the $500 that they wanted him to pay. Yeah, so overall, just this company was kind of just a bad experience. It really put like a nasty taste in my mouth because, like I said, they just had this very archaic view of how females should come to work. Like I said, the no pants, only skirts and makeup, and you can't wear glasses and you have to smile. Just like all of these things, and then plus like that they clearly only wanted to hire Chinese people, and they explicitly like told us that. And then also like just the treatment of the racial minorities in the company itself. So yeah, it was just terrible. And when my contract was done there, I was so happy to leave. And I feel just the people there, I feel like they were just so used to the environment that they didn't even really question it, because they don't seem like bad people, but I don't understand how they could thrive in that kind of environment. Couldn't be me. So anyway, I was just really happy when I left there. Yeah, so yeah, that's that. Hi everyone, editing Megan here. I just wanted to jump on to say that I'm in no way trying to make light of the situation of the sexism and racism that I came across while I was working. Obviously, I think a lot of people know that this racism and hiring only Chinese or like only Mandarin speaking people is a huge problem in Singapore, and not a lot of companies like to address it or acknowledge that this is there. And obviously I recognize my privilege as being a part of the majority race, and even me not being able to speak Mandarin at all, they didn't question hiring me, because obviously that's not really what places are looking for, and we kind of know it. Like, it's basically just covert racism. So I know I didn't really touch a lot on that in my video because it is a very heavy topic, but I just wanted to come on and say it is a really big problem. I would never work in a company that goes against my morals like that, but I know not everyone has the privilege to just choose, you know, where they want to work, and you know, sometimes people have to pay bills and whatever. Anyway, there's just a lot of circumstances why people may stay in a job like that. Obviously I was thankful that I didn't have to stay there. Yeah, and as far as the sexism and just that guy being a pervert, unfortunately I have a lot of stories like that, just of myself, of my girlfriends, of colleagues that I know that have gone through things like that. And obviously mine was more tame in a sense. Like, I have friends that they've actually been harassed by people in their workplace, like being molested or being like touched or whatever. So it is a heavy topic. I didn't really go that much into it just because I would just have too much to say on it basically. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and say that, and then just stay safe wherever you are. If you're a girl working in a company, or even a guy too, just stay safe and just try and help your colleagues if you do come across something like that. Yeah, back to the video. Yeah, so I only shared like 3 stories today, but I guess those are the standout stories of my working experience. And for the most part, I think I've just kind of enjoyed working in general. Like, it's not bad and you enjoy like meeting new people, which is hard nowadays. Yeah, so that's that. If I think of any other stories, maybe I will share them. And if you have any weird or sad or just unusual, or you just want to share your work stories, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to read them. And yeah,